The new year hasn't begun very well for Japan. Our first story is from Japan, where a 7.6 magnitude earthquake hit the north-central part of the country. Now, the earthquake triggered a tsunami warning and advisories have been issued for residents to evacuate. The Japan Meteorological Agency issued the tsunami warning along coastal regions of Ishikawa, Niigata and Toyama prefectures. Tsunami struck parts of the coast along the Sea of Japan. Up to 3-meter high hit the coast of Wajima city in the Ishikawa prefecture. Evacuation alerts have also been raised by weather authorities. Authorities said no abnormalities were, however, reported after checking all the nuclear reactors in the country. The Japan Meteorological Agency said a succession of 21 earthquakes registering 4 magnitude or stronger struck central Japan in just over 90 minutes on Monday. According to local authorities, around 33,500 households were without power around the epicenter of a series of major earthquakes in central Japan. Several major highways were closed around the epicenter of a series of major earthquakes in central Japan, like we told you. This is as per the road operator. According to the Japan Railways, Shinkansen bullet train services were also suspended between Tokyo and the epicenter in the Noto region in Ishikawa prefecture on the Sea of Japan side of Japan's main island of Honshu. To get us more details on that, we are now joined by a Tokyo-based journalist, Sonia Blaszke. Now, she is with us now. Sonia, first up, give us a lowdown of what you're hearing there. Tell us about the magnitude of this particular incident.
This is a big one. I mean, we've not seen this high number of alerts coming to the phones, to the television, to warning people to make sure they are safe because there's yet another earthquake. Also, the height of the tsunamis this time is really not something that we've seen since 2011 here. 3 meters, 5 meters, and the authorities are warning, there could be even higher tsunamis. Also, because of the way the sea is shaped, it's possible that the tsunamis that come in later might be even higher than the first one. So even though the first earthquake struck over 2 hours ago, it's really too early to let down one's guard. And authorities are warning that there might be more earthquakes in the days to come.
Many fear that, and you mentioned as well, that this could be a repeat of the 2011 disaster that crippled Japan. How prepared would you say is Japan for this?
I mean, overall, Japan is really a well-prepared country for this. Whenever there's a big earthquake, there's a certain procedure that they're following. And unfortunately, because of the way the country, because of the amount of earthquakes they experience, they have a lot of experience also with this procedure, the press conferences, the alert levels. However, I think what's different now compared, for example, to 2011 is that there's really a much higher awareness now also in the population that this could be really bad. And I've not seen or heard newscasters this almost like panicky, when they started warning of the tsunami. So I think, we've not seen the last of this, I'm afraid.
Now, Sonia, talking about the epicenter of this quake, the Noto region of Ishikawa is said to be the epicenter of this 7.6 magnitude earthquake. Now, in the evacuation alerts issued, there is clear agency to make sure people in the Wajima city are safe. So does the tsunami, you'd say, pose the most threat to Wajima and the Ishikawa prefectures?
Well, I think, since the epicenter was nearby, that's what we can kind of guess. It's also where the ground shaking was the most intense. But the authorities also said that, they've experienced a lot of earthquakes in this area for the past 3 years, and apparently the scope of the area has widened. So that could also mean that the next jolt might be in an even, wider area and could affect also the neighboring prefectures. So while yes, Wajima is the most affected at the moment, I think a bigger area needs to be on alert and kind of watchful. And you also asked about the preparation. What's different this time is that they're really actively asking people to get away from old buildings and try and find newer buildings made from concrete to really make sure they're safe, because there have been some reports, like news pictures, that look like buildings have been collapsing. So that's maybe also a difference compared to earlier.
What are the other evacuation measures that you're hearing of, Sonia? Other than going away from the old buildings, what else have you heard the authorities warn the residents of?
Yeah, another new development compared to 2011 is that they tell people to move to top floors if they can. Because back then an issue was that many cars got stuck in huge traffic jams and then got caught by the waves. And if people had just stayed in their place, or gone up to a higher building, to a strong concrete building, to the top floor, they would have survived. And so it's really not always about the distance to the sea, but also can you get up to higher ground like really quickly? And maybe this higher ground is not actual ground, but a really strong building.
Well, from the sound of it, it does sound like Japan is better prepared this time around. However, reports of fires have also broken out in the city. Those reports are also coming in. What is the status of the city, its people, and its infrastructure overall, with these reports coming in as well?
I mean, to be honest, I'm surprised that we haven't had more reports than the ones we've had so far. I mean, there are apparently also technical issues with regard to the tsunami height, so they can't even tell for sure if 1.20 in Wajima was really the final height, or if it might have been much bigger. And similarly, I think because of the power outages, news reports have been relatively scarce. I mean, we're seeing pictures here and there of the fires, of what looks like buildings collapsing or collapsed walls and things like that. But I think there's also probably some level of overwhelm because there have been so many earthquake alerts, and that's really not normal, even for Japan.
Okay, thank you so much, Sonia Blaszke, for joining us with those updates on this unfortunate incident that has happened on the day of the New Year's. Thanks a lot for joining us on this broadcast.
You're welcome.